Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good day everyone. We are from Group 4 and today we will present the conclusions from our discussion regarding the case study faced by Mr. Hakimi. I am Siti Hawa binti Abdul Aziz and I will begin this presentation by introducing the first step of the SHZE model, which is analyze learners. Before we start with the first element of this SHZE model, I will share a bit about this case study situation. Okay, so this case study focuses on how Mr. Hakimi can redesign an existing educational application to suit with his teaching objectives. And he wants to conduct lessons on descriptive language by teaching several topics such as adjective, the simple present tense, and also the basic sentence connectors. And he also aims to develop his students' speaking and writing skills. Therefore, our group has discussed one possible solution that Mr. Hakimi could implement these objectives. So, the name of the technology is Canva and Padlet Digital Descriptive Hub. So, basically, this is a combination of two online applications, which is Canva and Padlet, which are already familiar in educational settings. And these applications are suitable for Mr. Hakimi's classroom because they only require minimal storage space and intermediate internet use. And also, this is really appropriate for his school situation where only a projector and limited internet access are available. So, we have aligned the use of these two technologies with one of the instructional design models, which is the SHZE model. And the first component of the SHZE model is analyze learners. So, based on the information provided in the case study, we can divide our analysis into two main aspects, which are the first one about learners' characteristics and the second one about learning needs. For the first main point, which is about learners' characteristics aspect, it actually focuses to the Form 1 ESL class in a rural school in Kedah, limited vocabulary and often repeat the same simple sentences among the students. Students are shy and less confident in speaking English when they need to speak in the class. They become bored with traditional picture description activities that Mr. Hakimi always do previously. Most students only have smartphones and some need to share devices with friends. And lastly, the school has a projector but limited internet access. Meanwhile, the second main point, which about learning needs, is all about Mr. Hakimi actually has to create a new teaching and learning environment that is more advanced rather than the current method that he did previously. So, the content of the technology of his material must be more engaging learning activities because the student will get bored easily. The technology need to have the visual support to help generate ideas, opportunities to practice speaking and writing, have to be collaborative learning with classmates, and lastly, the technology have to be simple and accessible technology tools.
Next, we are moving on to the state objective. State objective is the stage where we have to clearly define terminal outcomes of using these suggested technologies, which is Canva and Padlet in Mr. Hakimi's class. Thus, our goal of choosing Canva and Padlet is because we would like to make sure that at the end of the lesson, the students are able to use adjective to describe people, places, feelings, or surroundings. They will also be able to construct simple present tense sentences accurately and using basic sentence connectors. In addition, students will be able to present and explain their descriptions confidently in front of the class. Lastly, the students will also be able to give simple comments or feedback on the classmate work through Padlet. For this lesson, we suggested that Mr. Hakimi selected collaborative learning, communicative language teaching, and interactive digital learning as his teaching methods. These approaches will encourage the students to actively participate in the learning process, communicate with their peers in English, and work together to complete tasks. The main materials used include interactive Canva slides, pictures for the description activities, videos and animation related to objective and sentence structures, as well as the Padlet discussion wall. The main media and technology used are Canva and Padlet, supported by a projector and student smartphone. Canva will serve as the primary teaching and learning platform where Mr. Hakimi will present interactive lesson materials through visually appealing slides, videos, animation, and examples. Next, Why would we choose Padlet? Padlet is used as a platform for sharing and showcasing students' work. It will allow all the student description to be displayed in one place, making it easier for the class to view and discuss each other's work. In addition, Padlet will encourage interaction and give feedback through its commenting features. Students can support and appreciate their classmates' effort while practicing English communication skills. It will also serve as a useful tool for speaking, presentation, and collaborative learning, helping students become more confident in expressing their ideas in English.
I shall now explain about the third process of the Assure model, which is utilize media and materials. After selecting the appropriate media and materials, it is important for a teacher to understand how to utilize them properly in order to achieve the set goals. In order to do so, it's important to follow the 5 P's. Firstly, review the technology, media, and materials. This means that it's important to plan ahead of time of how the chosen items can be used during the lesson. To ensure no errors happen during the lesson, Mr. Hakimi must do a quick run in order to test and evaluate the media or software beforehand to ensure that it functions properly. This ensures that the whole lesson will go smoothly and seamlessly without any error that might disrupt a student's concentration. Secondly, you need to prepare the technology, media, and materials. Mr. Hakimi needs to gather together all of the things that are needed to teach the lesson. In this scenario, since Mr. Hakimi will be using the software, Padlet, and Canva during the lesson, he must ensure that the slides for the Canva were prepared with videos, animations, images, and examples that can help students understand the lesson more effectively while keeping them interested and motivated. The third process is prepare the environment. Some minimum preparation is required to set up the learning environment, as environments can positively or negatively impact a student's learning capability. Simple things like proper lighting, comfortable temperature, as well as enough seating for the students is more than enough to reduce the physical fatigue and distraction of the students. Not to mention, less noise, especially during the lesson, will help the students to concentrate more, as noises might compromise the students' understanding of the lesson. Fourth process is prepare the learners. And this process is where we can finally start the lesson. However, before that, Mr. Hakimi needs to first inform the students as to what the learning objectives are. This will help set the expectations for the student, as well as giving the students time to create a mental map of what they need to absorb during the lesson. Not to mention, since there is the prepared media, it's important for Mr. Hakimi to tell the purpose of the media, as well as setting a clear explanation and a quick example to the students of the benefit of learning the material. Finally, the last process is provide the learning experience. This is when the lesson can finally truly start, and this is where all the planning takes effect. Of course, the teacher should be prepared to carry out the instruction and the lesson with every prior step of the process in mind. The instructions were delivered using the chosen media, facilitating a smooth, engaging, and interactive lesson. There are 3 benefits of the third process of the Assure model. First, enhance engagement. This way of teaching caters to various learning styles, which is visual, auditory, and kinesthetic, by offering a dynamic, interactive content that captures and sustains the students' interest. Secondly, it improves retention. By having visual, AR, or multimedia simulations, it helps translate complex abstract concepts into concrete experiences that are easier to remember. Finally, this method helps students to actively participate during the lesson. by transitioning students from passive listeners into active participations. This will encourage students to do hands-on interaction and giving immediate feedback on how the lesson goes through.
In this lesson, students are actively involved throughout the learning process instead of only listening to the teacher. This is important because the AZWA model encourages students to become active participants in their own learning. First, students watch and respond to the interactive Canvas slides prepared by Mr. Hakimi. The slides contain explanations, videos, animations, and examples that help students understand adjective, simple present tense, and sentence connectors in a more interesting way. After the learning session, each student chooses one picture and writes a short description using the language features they have learned. By doing this task independently, students can apply their knowledge directly and practice their writing skill. They are also encouraged to use Canvas design features to make their work more creative and attractive. Next, students present their description in front of the class. During the presentation, they explain the adjective, simple present tense, and sentence connectors that they use in their sentences. This activity allows students to demonstrate their understanding while improving their speaking confidence. Students also participate in the Padlet activity by giving comments on their classmate work. Positive comments and feedback can motivate students and create a supportive learning environment. In addition, students who are more familiar with Canva and Padlet can assist their classmates who need help. This encourages peer learning, teamwork, and communication among students. Mr. Hakimi evaluates students based on their writing and speaking performance. He checks whether students use adjectives, simple present tense, and sentence connectors correctly in their descriptions. He also observes student confidence during presentations and their participation in the Padlet commenting activity. After the lesson, Mr. Hakimi reflects on whether Canva and Padlet made the lesson more engaging compared to the traditional method. He also considers whether students show better understanding and participation throughout the lesson. In addition, he identifies any technical or internet issues that may have affected the activity. For future lessons, Mr. Hakimi can reduce the number of presentations if time is limited. He can also allow weaker students to work in pairs for additional support. If internet access is unstable, offline Canva materials can be prepared. A vocabulary bank can also be provided to help students with lower English proficiency.